watching Ask the Institute, presented by the Options Institute at CBOE.
Welcome to Ask the Institute, where we explore the topics that you want to know about. I'm Michelle Kaufman, Market Observer at the Options Institute, the Education Division of the Chicago Board Options Exchange. Today's question comes for us from Alejandro from Galveston, Texas, who asks, can you explain the term AM settlement? Well, thank you for your question, Alejandro. Your question is a little more involved than it might seem. And to provide you with a more thorough explanation, I'd first like to define the term settlement and then discuss the two types of settlement, which are AM settlement, which you asked about, and then PM settlement. So when the term settlement is used, it refers to the final closing price of a stock, exchange-traded fund, or stock market index. Settlements, of course, occur every trading day. For example, if IBM stock were to close today at $171.50 per share, then today's settlement value, or price, for IBM would be $171.50. For options traded, these daily settlement values are not particularly significant other than to give you comfort in knowing that your position is going the way that you want it to, or to cause you a little discomfort in knowing that the position is not going the way you want it to because you're losing money. What is more important to options traders, however, is the final settlement before expiration. It is this final settlement value, or price, that determines whether an option is in the money, at the money, or out of the money. This final settlement value determines whether an option is exercised or not. Now that you know why the final settlement value is important, the next point to understand is that there are two methods by which final settlement value can be calculated. First, and perhaps the easiest to understand, is PM settlement, also referred to as afternoon settlement. Under PM settlement, the closing price of a stock in its primary market on the last trading day before expiration is considered to be the final settlement value or price. Now, if IBM stock, for example, closes at $171.50 at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the New York Stock Exchange on the third Friday of the month, then the final settlement price for that month's option is considered to be $171.50. Now, even if IBM stock trades at a different price on a different exchange after 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on that Friday, $171.50 is still the final settlement price for options exercised, and given a final settlement price, all options that are 1 cent in the money or will be automatically exercised by the Options Clearing Corporation unless instructed not to do so. Now remember, the owner of an option has the right, but not the obligation, to buy or sell an underlying instrument. So if an option is only a few cents in the money at expiration, and if you do not want to exercise that option, then you can instruct your broker not to exercise that option. Now generally, it's best to sell such an option and recover at least some small amount of value. But if you find it in yourself in a situation where you own an option you do not want to exercise, you can instruct your broker not to exercise. However, procedures and deadlines vary by firm, so use what you are familiar with, your firm's procedures and deadlines, to make that decision. Now that we have discussed settlement, let's consider a settlement for AM settlement, also referred to as morning settlement. AM settlement is not just like PM settlement, only in the morning. AM settlement is completely different. Now first, AM settlement only applies to cash-settled index options such as SPX options, VIX options, and DJX options, which are European-style options. So just to be clear, when we mention SPX, I'm referring to the S&P 500 stock index. Now the term VIX refers to the CBOE volatility index, and DJX refers to the mini Dow Jones Industrial Average Index. The last day of trading for these index options is the Thursday before the third Friday of the month. The final settlement value is then calculated using the opening trade price for each stock in the index. Now note that the final settlement value is not the first reported index level, which is generally reported within the first few seconds after the market opens. The final settlement index value cannot be calculated until all stocks in an index have had their first trade. It frequently takes an hour or longer for all stocks in the S&P 500 stock index to have their first trade. so the final settlement value cannot be calculated until then. In some rare cases, it is not until the end of Friday's trading day that a final settlement value can be calculated. Another feature of AM settlement is that all indexes subject to the settlement method have a unique ticker symbol. For the final settlement value, for example, for S&P 500 index options, the symbol for the final settlement value is SET. For options on the CBOE Volatility Index, the ticker symbol for the final settlement value is VXS. And for options on the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the ticker symbol for the final settlement value is DJS. Ticker symbols for final settlement values are listed in the contract specifications under the Products tab at cboe.com. Now let's review the important points in this answer to Alejandro's question. PM settlement refers to the calculation of final settlement value using afternoon closing prices in a stock's primary market. AM settlement, in contrast, refers to the use of opening prices of all stocks in an index. Now remember, the final settlement value for AM settlement is not the same index value that is first reported shortly after trading begins. PM settlement is used for options on individual stocks, exchange-traded funds, and for the popular OEX options, which are options on the S&P 100 stock index. AM settlement is used for index options such as SPX, VIX, DJX, and several others. Now, to learn more about options concepts like AM and PM settlement, visit CBOE's online education center at this web address listed here. I'd also like to take the time and opportunity to thank Alejandro for sending in his option-related question to Ask the Institute. Now, if you would like to submit a question like Alejandro, it's really very easy to do. All you need to do is go to the cboe.com homepage in the right panel, locate and click the accordion tab titled Ask the Options Institute, and then click on the Submit Question. Now, don't forget to include your name and full email address, as well as your mailing address. If you choose your question on the Ask the Institute as a future segment, then I'll send you a plush bull bear puppet just like this, just to say thank you for sending in such a great question. Well, until next time, this is Michelle Kaufman, Market Observer at the Options Institute, exploring the topics that you want to know about.